Tripoint Conversations, and I'm your host, Kristina Lowe. Today I'm sitting down with Alison Moulder, and this is going to be a little bit different of a podcast. So we're going to get into the story behind building a business from scratch. Alison owns Simplicity and Style, an organizing, styling, and relocation company right here in Louisville. But what people don't know is she's built something unique, an all-female team, flexible schedule so moms can actually get home when their kids get off the bus. So if you've ever been on a Zoom call thinking, I could be doing something else, or if you've been too scared to leave the safety net of a corporate job, this conversation might be for you. Welcome, Alison.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Before we get into the details of Simplicity and Style, I would like to know about how you got started and what it looked like before you started your business.
Okay, so my background is in teaching. And so I used to teach high school English at South Oldham High School here in Oldham County. And I taught for, I think, 8 or 9 years before I had kids. So my background is kind of totally different than what I'm doing right now. Yeah. But any teacher knows there's a level of organization required to manage a classroom and all the different students and all the different systems. And I really did love those years teaching. It was fun. I taught high school, which some people might say that would be like their worst nightmare, but I loved it. So I really enjoyed those years, but I also needed a transition when I had 3 kids in 4 years. And so just staying home with them was really what I enjoyed doing at that time before I moved into what I'm doing now.
What inspired you to take an occasional organizing project into a full-time business?
Well, I would say this. I didn't start off knowing that it was going to be full-time. In fact, the girl that I originally started this business with, my dear friend Becca, she was my biggest encourager. We would meet to run almost 4 or 5 days a week in the morning. And this was during COVID. So we had a lot of time to talk and think. Mm-hmm. Nobody was working. The kids were home. It was sort of like a therapy for us. And I was telling her, I said, gosh, my youngest is going to start kindergarten next year. And I don't necessarily want to go back to work full-time teaching. That's a lot of grading in the evenings. And I just didn't have the headspace for that with three kids. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, what would you do if you could do anything? And I said, well, this is like, kind of silly. I just love organizing. I love all things home. I don't know how to turn that into a job though. And she's like, oh, we totally can do this, Alison. We should just do it. Let's just do it. And Becca is one of those people who is just truly an encourager. And she just kind of jump-started the idea for us. I made a website. I spent months actually making a website. I have no clue how to make a website. But again, it was COVID. We were home. So while my kids are over here doing all of their online school, I was, Googling how to create a website. And then I used Wix and I figured it out. But it did take about 4 months to really build that website. And I would send it to Becca and I'd say, I don't know, do you think we should post it yet? I don't know about page 5. And then she's like, click post now. Just do it. Stop overthinking it. I'm a classic overthinker.
Yeah.
And as soon as we did that, we just shared it with our friends and family and just kind of the community of people that we know. And literally that week we had like 3 calls where people were like, hey, I got a pantry and need some help. Do you want to come organize it? So I didn't go into it knowing that it was going to blossom into what it is today. I don't know that anybody who starts a business knows truly what it is going to be, but it did start off as sort of a side hustle. Like, hey, let's see if we can make this work. So those were some good practice projects and people were very patient with us. But I learned a lot and I learned that I really did like to do it.
Mm-hmm. What an encourager and what a way to just get started, not waiting for everything to come together and be perfect.
Yes.
Talk about the early years of your first clients and going in there. Did you know what to expect before you went into their homes?
That would be no. No, I say that laughing, but we had everything from like a dreamy, gorgeous pantry, which was sort of my dream job. Let me make your pantry beautiful and organized, to a couple people who called us in and I couldn't like walk through the house, like true hoarding situations. Mm-hmm. And I went home that night and I told my husband, I do not think I can do that. I am not the girl for that. That's like a much deeper level of help than I could provide. So we had to be really discerning in those early days. We would go and I always offered a complimentary consultation, and Becca and I would go and we would say, okay, wow, that's more than we can handle. And we would be upfront with people about that. But most of the time it was just really stressed out moms who were just busy and just their house just had blown up and they're like, I can't get it back together. I'm working. I have young kids. So we would just come in and create systems for them in the playroom, in the kitchen, in the bathroom, in their closet, all of it. We would pull out everything, sort it into categories, say what can go, what can stay. Most people were just really happy to just finally look at everything and say, let's get rid of this, let's get rid of that. I would have never done this on my own if you guys hadn't just come over and made me do it. And then of course, when we would leave, it's like that whole before and after moment. That's like the moment I love about my job is we walk them through their new space, open up the door to their closet, and almost every single person is like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is life-changing. So that's what really kept me going, is just those moments that I know have really helped somebody.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your team now. You have an all-female team.
Yeah.
Was that done intentional, and what has that taught you?
Yes, it's definitely intentional. I feel like I pretty much have hand selected every girl on my team. Becca, who was the original partner with me, ended up having to take a full-time job. And so she moved out of it. And then I was like, am I going to do this alone? This is definitely a job that you need at least one other person for. And then as we started to get more calls, I started to think, well, I could actually use a third person. Like, this is a huge kitchen and the two of us will be here for days, if we're doing that. So I called my friend Hillary, who was a preschool mom friend of mine. And I know she liked all things home and organizing. I've been in her house and I've seen what it looks like. And I said, hey, do you want to just hop in on a job with me and see if it's something you like? And she was like, absolutely. And she was wonderful. And she's still with me today. She's my lead organizer who, I can send her on any job, even if I'm not there. She knows the routine and the systems. So as Becca phased out, Hillary was phasing in. And then from there, we just kind of grew. I think that what happened was Hillary was on vacation for a few weeks and I had a big job. Like, this lady needed kitchen organization right before she was about to host a massive Thanksgiving dinner. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's next week and it's just me. So Hillary said, hey, just call my friend Kate. She's just transitioning out of her job. She was teaching like Pilates and exercise classes and had hurt her shoulder. And I was like, well, Kate, do you want to organize with me? And she said, sure. So I brought her along and trained her kind of on the spot. And she's been with me ever since too. So that's really how it happens, is every time I see a need, like we're getting too busy, I feel like I need more people. I just sort of ask people that I know who are good at this. I say, hey, no pressure. If this is something you're interested in, we are hiring. And everybody so far has been like, yes, this is wonderful. I try to make it so that it's a super flexible job. I say, hey, you can work 1 day a week. You can work 1 day a month. You can work 20 days a month. It's just however much business we have and however much you want to do. So flexibility is a key part of that. I think that really helps.
And it sounds like you've surrounded yourself with a strong community. So if you do have more jobs that come up, you can pull people in and get that done instead of saying,
yes, definitely. Yeah. It started when I was telling people we are booked like 5 weeks out. I just couldn't fit these jobs in to our already busy schedule. And so then I thought, well, wait a minute, I don't have to be on every job. If I train some of the other girls on the team, they could be comfortable doing something. So on any given day, I might have 2 people doing a playroom, and then I'm on a move-in job with 3 other people, and then somebody else might be decorating for Christmas. So we divide and conquer. It's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What about your faith? Would you say that your faith plays into how you run your business and how you lead the team?
Yes, absolutely. My faith defines who I am, as I'm a Christian, and I think that's really having trust in the Lord in the beginning of this process was essential. I prayed a lot about it. I think I said I'm an overthinker. And so I was not one of those people who was like, oh, I'm just going to go do this and just start this business and it's all going to be fine. I thought long and hard about like, where do I want to be in a few years? What do I want my life to look like as far as being there for my family? And my faith plays a huge role in that. So almost every major decision I've made, I always take it to the Lord in prayer first, and just, kind of as we grow and as we get bigger, it's always I want to have my faith be reflected in how we serve others. So compassion is a huge value that we bring. I always tell the girls on the team, like, we're going into houses, we always have compassion and kindness. We're never judging. You've no idea what people have been through. Sometimes you think, oh, I'm going into this beautiful, huge house, their life must be perfect. And then you have no idea what their family has just been through. They just lost their mom, or this happened. And all of us have been there too. So sometimes we'll go into a client's house and they're like, oh, don't judge. And I always say, we are not judging. We are not here to judge you. We're here to help you. So I feel like approaching every job from a disposition of servanthood to others and compassion and kindness is really what motivates me to do this every day.
Thank you for sharing that.
Well, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thinking about the job, what part of the job surprised you the most?
Probably when I pictured Oh, organizing. I just pictured the moment I was in a house sort of pulling things out of a closet. I don't think anyone could have prepared me for the amount of work that goes into a business behind the scenes. I just had no idea. And so as we have grown, the workload has grown too. Trying to balance all of that, the website and social media, marketing, returning calls to all the inquiries that come in via email, or sometimes people will just text me, or, I have to get back to that person, and creating estimates and proposals that communicate correctly exactly what's going to happen, creating our brand. All of this is stuff that I had no clue going into it that I would be doing, but I've just sort of learned it along the way. I definitely haven't figured it out on my own. I think it's imperative if you're starting a business to ask for help. I've asked so many people, home organizers out there in the country that, just on Instagram, I'll send them a message. Hey, how did you do this? And they're all so wonderful about responding because we're all in the same boat. And then any of my friends who own their business, how do you do this? How do you invoice this? Do you have a good small business accountant? I mean, you just have to ask questions. People have answers. I don't have the answers, so I would much rather ask others and glean information from them. So that's been surprising to me how much I would have to learn the ins and outs of a small business, but it's been really cool and really fun too.
For other people that are thinking about starting their own business, is there a portion of it that you've outsourced, or are you taking it all on yourself?
Right now, I do have an accountant. My dad is my accountant. I would never know how to do all that bookkeeping and all the taxes and things like that. He always keeps me up to date on it. And sometimes, I say, I'm not sure what that number means. Explain it to me. He's very good and very patient with me. Everything else I pretty much do on my own. I always do all the consultations in person. Occasionally, I'll send one of the other lead organizers to do it if I'm out of town. But mostly, I like to be the point of contact. I like to establish the relationship with the client, because what we do is a relationship with people. You're going into their house, you're opening their drawers in their closet. Sometimes we're moving people in, sometimes we're moving them out. By the end of every job, I feel like we know them well and they know us well, and all of, we're laughing and we're getting to know each other. It's one of my favorite parts of the job. So I like to do that part. I don't outsource that. And as far as anything else, I think we've just sort of figured it out as we go. So I don't outsource website design, although I would love to upgrade our website someday. I might do that. And social media, I still do that on my own too. I know people who hate posting on Instagram, and they will pay somebody any amount of money so they don't have to do it. It doesn't bother me. I can do it pretty quickly now. And I also like our personality to show through. I don't want somebody else's personality to show through. So far I'm balancing and juggling all of the balls, except maybe the accounting and bookkeeping part. But yeah.
I will say the website, the Instagram, I know you have professional photos taken, but everything looks amazing.
Oh, thank you.
It looks really nice.
Yes, photography. There you go. I've outsourced that. I'm not taking my own picture. Rachel, one of the girls on our team, is also a photographer on the side. So she's been handy to have around, because every once in a while I'll say, we got to update team pictures, and we just get it on the books and do it. So yeah.
Let's get into maybe some of the not so positive. Have you ever said yes to a job, and as you got into it, you thought maybe you shouldn't have? And what did that look like?
Yes, I have. Most of the time, I sense if the client is a good fit for us. But a couple times there's been people who, and it wasn't their fault or my fault. It was just we were not a good fit with the way we worked together. And that required a hard conversation. And I hate having those conversations. I hate conflict. I want everybody to be happy and get along. I'm one of those people. But I think it's also good if you're a business owner and you've started a project, you want that person to have a successful outcome. And I may not be the person who can give them the most successful outcome. So two times, and only two times in these entire almost 5 years of doing this, I've had to break up with the client, so to speak. And it was hard and it was kind of sad, but mostly I was just saying, hey, look, I think that somebody else better suited to what you need could help you more. And it's not like a personal hard feelings. Yeah. It's just the way that this job is panning out is probably something that someone else could help you with more. And then I give them referrals to multiple people. There's other home organizers in Louisville that I know would probably work more with their style. So I don't ever want to leave people high and dry. But those were hard. Those were hard moments. And, you just have to do stuff like that sometimes. So
I can imagine, but it sounds like you went in with grace and compassion and had, hard but good conversations.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
Has there ever been a season in your life where something hard or challenging was happening personally, and that kind of changed how you showed up at work?
That is one thing. It's funny, when we just had a team meeting the other week, and we were talking about that, about how no matter what's going on at home, no matter what's going on, if you didn't sleep that night, you have to show up and bring positive energy to the job, because we're going into houses where people are maxed out and stressed out, and we don't want to add to that at all. And the girls do an amazing job of that. There's definitely been times where I would say it's more like just a season that year where, like all my kids were sick all week and I was up at night and I was tired. And I thought the last thing I want to do is go organize today, but I've already scheduled this job. Now, what always happens is once I get there, I'm good, kind of stepping out of my own problems that day and just really focusing on somebody else is pretty much the key to snapping out of a bad mood.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Tell me about a project that has stuck with you that you think back on more than others.
There was a project we did earlier this summer, and I could tell the client was kind of reluctant, like, a home organizer, what is this all about? You're going to come into my house and organize. She was a super busy surgeon, had 2 young children, was just drowning. She said, I'm busy all the time. I feel like our house is falling apart. And so she actually wasn't even on site when we were organizing, but we organized her entire storage room. We set up a playroom for her kids. We did an art zone. We did all sorts of stuff. And I would text her pictures throughout the day. I was like, if you're not in surgery right now, let me know if you want this in the Christmas bin or the Thanksgiving bin, whatever questions. We'll just communicate that way. And she would respond. And so I thought when we left that day, I hope this is what she was wanting. Because usually I like to do a walkthrough with the client, but it couldn't happen that way. And she called me and left me a voicemail, and she was literally crying. And she said, Alison, I don't even know if I can explain to you what you did for me today. And I mean, I could cry just thinking about it. And she said, you have taken so much off my plate. I don't know how you guys did it, but you did it. And I just feel like I can breathe again in my own home. And, I'm just so thankful. And that one stuck with me because sure, everybody loves a gorgeous pantry or a closet with all the pretty things in it. But we were in her storage room and her playroom. It wasn't even necessarily the room she's in every day, but she said that had been weighing on her for years. And she felt like she just couldn't get down there and do it because it's a big project. I mean, we had a bunch of us down there. It took all of us, but we got it done. And it really, I feel like really gave her a sense of peace, which is, of course, at the end of the day, what I want to do for people. So
yeah, it was more than just organizing her
absolutely
stuff.
Yeah.
So what about for you? What do you do to recharge?
Besides try to sleep when I can.
Yeah.
You and I both have kids. That's just, sometimes
not a lot of time.
Sleep is elusive. I love to run. Some people might say that doesn't recharge them, but that does recharge me. Any kind of physical activity. I have found that if I start my day with a workout, it's really hard when you start, but once you're done, I feel more awake and more ready to take on the day. Being outside, going for a walk. My husband and I try to go for a walk every evening if it's not raining or something, blizzard conditions or whatever. We really try to go for a walk every evening. That's something we started doing this year. That recharges me. Just 20 minutes, So just being outside, moving, exercising, running, those are the things that work for me.
Okay. As we look at your business and your website, it is described as a luxury service.
Yeah.
How did you figure out what to charge? And you don't have to get into the details of that, but as someone starting their business, how did you decide what to charge?
Well, I will say this. We did not charge enough the first time that we did it. The first couple of months. I just picked a number out of the air. I mean, I don't recommend that at all. At all. Do some market research. I eventually was like, we need to figure this out because we were making barely any money once taxes were gone. And all the time that we put into the job. I charge for the time we're on site. So if a pantry takes 4 hours, we're charging for 4 hours. But that doesn't include the time of the planning and the product ordering and unboxing all the things that arrive at my house and all of that stuff. So I learned I need to charge for all of my time. It's an all-inclusive service. And so we do charge a fee that encompasses that, if that makes sense. But yeah, I had to do some market research. I had to look around at other cities our size, look at Cincinnati and some others just nearby that are kind of Midwest cities and say, what do people charge here? What is the going rate? I didn't do that in my first year. I didn't charge the maximum that I thought I should charge because I thought I'm still kind of new at this. I don't want to go into this assuming that I know it all. And I think as we grew and we became better at it, I felt more comfortable charging higher rates that really covered the time and the cost that it takes to run a business and to provide a really good service to people. I mean, at the end of the day, I want it to be a high quality, wonderful service. We take it from beginning to end. I don't want my clients to have to worry about a thing. So I tell them, we will bring everything with us that you need. If we need hangers, if we need bins, baskets, whatever, we will source and bring all of it. If we're moving you in, we will break down boxes. We will coordinate junk removal. We will work with your contractor and help you figure out that last bit of your kitchen cabinet layout. We like to provide the full service from start to finish so that they really feel like it's worth their time and their money.
So it really is a luxury service, all inclusive and peace of mind for them.
Absolutely. Yes. I try to make it that way. And I think most people feel like they did make a good investment. In fact, I've had people say, I wasn't so sure at first if having you all, like, for example, a full house move-in, that could get expensive. Your moving is expensive.
Yeah.
And I give them the estimate and I say, I promise you won't be disappointed. No pressure. If you want to do it, do it. And I've never had a person say it wasn't worth it. They always say that was 100% worth every bit of that, to take that off my plate, to come home from work and have my whole house unpacked and organized, which is always my goal, is to have happy clients at the end of the day.
Are there any mistakes that you can look back on and
none.
say, I wish I shouldn't have done that?
Yes. I'm trying to think of a specific one. Mostly it's just getting myself into maybe overcommitting myself a little bit to things. Sure, we can fit you in on Friday, and then I've already gotten jobs on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, which of course leaves me no free time. Yeah. I need to be careful not to burn myself out. So sometimes overcommitting is a bit of a thing I've struggled with in the past. I've honestly gotten really good at it this year, saying, no, we're fully booked this week, but next week we have a day,
Yeah.
And if somebody wants that badly enough, then they'll take that day. Just overcommitting myself and feeling guilty for saying no when I know we can't fit it in. But I've learned along the way and know how to pace things better.
All right, let's turn it into something fun. A quick lightning round.
Okay.
Quick answers. Don't overthink it. Okay. Favorite Louisville restaurant?
Mojitos in Havana in St. Matthews. I love that place.
The place is delicious.
It is so good.
Where do you take out-of-town guests?
Oh, kind of depends. Nulu is really fun. I feel like we can eat down there, go shopping,
walk around.
Just anywhere down in the Nulu area is fun to go to.
Okay. A favorite coffee shop?
Heine Brothers.
Okay. Best running route in Louisville?
Oh, Cherokee Park. I mean, it's hard because you've got those hills, but you can't beat the view. It just feels like you're kind of outside the city, just the rolling hills, the trees. It's gorgeous.
If we got in your car right now, what would be playing on the radio?
Oh my goodness. Either country, if I'm just listening to the radio, or like Tyler Childers or Zach Bryan, someone like that. Yeah.
Okay. Guilty TV show pleasure.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. Does Yellowstone count as a guilty TV show pleasure? Because man, that show is dark.
Yeah.
My husband and I are like, man, this is awful. These people are awful, but you can't stop watching.
Yes.
It's so good. You can't stop watching.
And the scenery.
Yes. I was going to say, I love the scenery. We went out to Montana last summer and I was like, this is it. I could live out here. And then you watch that show and you're like, whoa. Who knew all this was going on, That's kind of a guilty pleasure.
Where'd you go in Montana?
We went to Glacier National Park.
Okay.
Yeah. And we went to Missoula for a couple days too, which was beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's in your pantry that would surprise people?
In my pantry. Okay, so my guilty pleasure snack every night is a bowl of Special K cereal. Everybody laughs when I say that. My friends are like, "Oh, that's really risky there, a bowl of cereal." I'm like, "Hey, if I had ice cream, I would eat that every night, but I can't have it in the house."
Yeah.
So yeah, my nightly bowl of cereal. My kids even laugh. They're like, "Oh, it must be almost bedtime. Mom's eating her bowl of cereal."
Got the Special K in there.
It is, and if we like run low on it, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, we have to go to the store. I'm almost out of my snack."
Yeah. Okay, as we are looking at other people who might want to start their own business or do something different, what would you tell someone listening if they're in a corporate job of something to consider before they get started or, just to do it?
That's a good question. I would say that if I can do it, anybody can do it. Truly, though, I'm the person who overanalyzes, overthinks, and is not a risk taker. Mm-hmm. I like a plan. I like to know what's coming. And starting this and doing it was a bit of a risk. I had actually been offered a job right before I started this business doing online test editing, which is about as exciting as it sounds, but it was very stable and it was easy. It was work from home. And I was really thinking about doing that. And then I had that conversation with Becca and I had a couple other conversations with people just asking for advice. I'm a person who likes to ask people who know more than me sometimes, like, what would you guys do in this situation? And all of them said, I think you should just go for it. So I thought, well, I'll give it a few months and we'll see what happens. So I would say if you are worried about it, you can overthink it day and night, but just try it and see. It's, you'll never know unless you try. And I think back, what if I had never tried? I would never be where we are today. And I love where we are today. I love having a team of amazing women that I get to work with every day. I love helping our clients. I love what I do. I'm even starting to like all the aspects of running the business. I'm getting used to it now.
Yeah.
So things that used to scare me don't scare me anymore. Just growth as a human being too. I feel like I've just learned so much. You just learn so much about yourself when you kind of put yourself out there and take a risk and see where things go. So I would say just go for it. I do think you should have a little bit of a plan in place. You don't want to be too like, oh, it'll all be fine. I did research it a lot. I looked into tons and tons of websites from other home organizers. How are they doing things? What services do they offer? How are they structuring their services? How are they wording what they do? You think home organizer, that can mean 1,000 different things.
Yeah.
So choose your wording carefully. But yeah, I would say just go for it. And see what happens. Just get started. You got to start somewhere to figure out if it's really what you want to do.
And I'm assuming you didn't start everything at once. You added to your business as you got going to see what worked.
I think when you do something, you start to see where is there a need for something. And for example, the move-in service, that we move people in, unpack them, and organize their house, in a day or two. I did not go into it thinking that I would ever do that. But what happened was we had a client who we had done whole house organization for her. And she said, oh my gosh, we're moving. I need you to help me organize my new house. And I was like, well, of course, we'll help you do that. And then I thought, don't unpack anything. Before you put everything away and we take it all back out, what if we do it from day one? And she's like, oh, that's amazing. So we did. And I was like, I love this because I love starting with a blank slate. We helped her pack. So we were going through things before she moved. We're making sure everything she wants in the new house is stuff that she actually wants to take. If you've been in a house for years, the things just build up.
Yes.
Like, why do I even still have this anymore? So we helped her edit and downsize, moved her in, and unpacked her and organized her. And I loved it so much. I was like, we're going to start offering that service. And that's now one of our, signature services that we work with a lot of real estate agents. They'll say, hey, I've got somebody going to call you. They really need you guys to help them pack up and then unpack in, next month. And it's been one of my favorite services so far. We really get to work together as a team on those jobs.
Yeah. Well, what about thinking to the future? Have you thought about where you want to see Simplicity and Style go in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yes, I have. I'm always a person who's thinking a little bit 2 steps ahead. I don't know if you can truly plan for what's coming, but I like to at least have an idea. I kind of look at the end of the year, I look back on what areas did we do really well in? What areas are we we haven't really had many jobs doing this lately, or, just kind of look at what we've done. And truly, I do think that the move-ins will be growing as, it becomes a more common service for people. A lot of people don't even know it exists. I have a lot of people who tell me, I had no idea this service existed. Thank goodness such and such referred me to you all. And that's the highest compliment as a referral and for doing things like that. I would love to still keep the boutique small feel that we have to our business. I still like to meet every client in person. Even if I may not be the person who ends up on that job, I still pop in and check on things, make sure everything's going well. But I know there's options. Some people expand into other cities. I don't know if I'm one of those people who wants to do that. Okay. I like to keep it small and local. I like to still have that personalized service, and I still like to keep our team manageable as well. Like, I know each of the girls so well. I know who is better at playrooms and kids rooms and who's better at this. And so I always want to make sure that I'm providing a good leadership to them in the form of personalized kind of service to others like that too.
Okay. Is there anything that you know now that you wish you would have known before you got started?
Oh my goodness, so many things. I don't even know where to start.
Or is it better just to go in a little naive?
I would say this: if I had known what was coming, I might not have done it. No, there's just so many challenges. Yeah, I think I don't know if I can name a single one, but just be prepared for the unexpected sometimes and roll with it. I mean, I have to tell myself that things change all the time. You might go in expecting this to be a certain way, and then guess what? The movers didn't show up. They're coming at 3 p.m. And you're like, okay, so we got to work with what we have now or change our whole schedule around. And flexibility, learning to be flexible is huge. Just how to really work with a team and manage a team. Everybody's wonderful on my team, but, trying to figure out how to keep everybody in the jobs that best suit them and that work well together with them. That's a learning experience. All of it, really.
All right. Well, thank you, Alison, for joining
You're
us
welcome.
today. And for everyone out there that needs organizing, styling, relocation, Simplicity and Style is located here in Louisville. Highly recommend. They have a website and Instagram so you can see what they've done. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Thanks for listening to Tripoint Conversations. Make sure you hit subscribe wherever you're listening so you never miss an episode. If this conversation resonated with you, share it with a friend or someone who's navigating their own next chapter. And if you know a story that deserves to be heard, or maybe that story is yours, head to tripointstrategicgroup.com and send me a note. I can't wait to keep this journey going with you and introduce you to more incredible people who are shaping their communities one story at a time.